I'm Anese Cavanaugh, and I'm the founder of ACI, as well as the Positive Energy Workplace Initiative and the IEP methodology. Good to see you. We just finished our February 22nd executive forum, which was really more of an executive roundtable. It was a very intimate group of leaders that came to talk about workforce culture and innovation and what was going on in their companies and what were they bumping up against, and then also to look at some of the most recent data of what's happening in terms of 2024 predictions, as well as the trends that we're seeing around people doing culture and leadership development and how effective that is actually being in their companies and what are the missing pieces that need to be addressed. So the actual forum was titled three workplace culture indicators influencing innovation and performance. And I thought what I would do is, those sessions happen about once a month. We do different topics depending on what we're seeing happening with our clients and also what we're seeing happening in the market. And so I thought what I would do today is just share a couple of nuggets that came out of this particular session in service of you and encourage you to join us for a future session if this content feels interesting to you. So we don't record the sessions to share. The people that attend are totally confidential. The conversations are confidential. However, we do capture some of the nuggets with the intention to share and pay forward some of our learning, as well as to encourage you to get into the conversation, because the conversations are really rich. I think today was one of my favorite ones that we've done. We've been doing these for a while now. We've been experimenting with different formats. We've had sessions that have had 40, 50 leaders, and we've had sessions that have had 2. And every day, everyone is really interesting what comes out of it. But today was extra special. So, all right. So a couple things to be thinking about. Everybody in the session, we gave them an equation that we use. We've rebuilt our equation since I wrote Contagious Culture. And Contagious Culture in 2015, when I released that book, I actually included an equation to help you measure what the cost of negative energy is in your organization or your team. Obviously, since then, over the last almost 10 years, we've been really refining that formula. And so we shared that new formula with this group today, and we had them figure out what the cost of unintentional, not even necessarily negative, although negative, and they go together, obviously, but what the cost of unintentional energy is. And it was fascinating. We walked them through the equation. We had them each do it for their organizations. Some did it for their team. Some did it for their entire division, knowing that they're going to keep continuing to expand it out to see what it is actually costing the organization. And it was fascinating because we had, and I just want to look at the numbers because I wrote them down because I was like, whoa, we had, people report that, one company said that for the amount of time that their workforce spent this last year on drama and not focusing on the right things and unintentional energy and not being intentional about meetings and such, they could have hired an assistant for every single leader in their company. So hear that again. For the amount of time that their general workforce spent and the lost time spent on the wrong things, drama, gossip, complaining, miscommunication, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they could have actually hired an assistant for every leader in the organization. That's kind of a big deal. Other numbers that were shared back were $26,000 for the year for each leader or each person on the team, $14,500, $22,000. So it's just very interesting just looking at what does it cost. If that's just take $22,000. Let's just say you've got one person that you're keeping track of, and the energy of the workforce is not right. The IEP with the intentions, energy, and presence of the workforce is not right. It's not helpful. It's not productive. If you've got a team of 10 people and it's costing you $22,000 per year or per person, which honestly is very minimal because we just did the equation. Imagine that they wasted 1 hour a day in drama, and actually research has shown it's 2.5 hours a day. And actually in our work with clients, when we ask them about that number, they think 2.5 is actually really conservative. So for this exercise, they just did 1 hour a day. Just imagine though, 1 hour a day, $22,000 a person. Take that over a year with 10 people, it's $220,000 of lost opportunity costs and time and energy and ripple effects, not even including what happens when they go home at night what happens when they go home at night, to complain to their families, to lose sleep, to not be well, et cetera, lost time, all those different things. So pretty significant. We're never going to eliminate drama. We're never going to eliminate noise. We're never going to eliminate like bad communication. These things, we're human beings. This is part of what we do, no matter how much we work at it. However, imagine if you even decrease that number by 20%. Imagine if you just decrease that, what would be possible. So the invitation to you is to really start thinking about what is the cost of negative energy, unintentional energy in your meetings, on your teams, in your project spaces, in design. One of the examples we talked about was with design. We introduced the, let me just back up a second. We introduced the IEP ecosystem, the way that we think about this work and how the IEP work lies underneath all the different things that you're doing. And I'll do another video about this soon. But IEP is influencing every single thing that's happening in your company. So for example, your design and innovation efforts, if your people on your team, if they don't have clean intentions, energy, presence, if they're not showing up in a way that is in service of, that's creating psychological safety, that creates an environment that is conducive for good, honest feedback, then what that means is at best, they're not giving each other honest feedback. So collaboration is going to be compromised. And at worst, you're probably creating a lot of contraction and safety, or not safety, but protectiveness, which is not conducive to your best creativity. If people are always worried if they're psychologically safe, or if they can give feedback, or if they can talk openly, or if they can communicate, or if they're cared about, if they're always worried about that, even operating in the back of their heads, you are now you're decreasing your team's ability to be creative and innovate and do all the amazing things that your company wants to be doing. So that's just one example. We can look at technology, we can look at leadership development, we can look at workplace wellness, we can look at your sales, we can look at your metrics, we can look at talent development, we can look at anything. And I can give you an example of where the IEP is probably, it's either completely helping that division or that role, or it is completely hindering it. So if you missed today's form, I really encourage you to get on forums with us in the future, because the content is quite juicy. It's quite a different way to look at it. So let me just, that's just one thing that we did. I shared that. I'm not going to share that right now. The other thing that we really looked at was we looked at 3 blind spots, 3 hardcore blind spots that in our experience organizations have, and really kind of our culture as a whole, and it doesn't matter the industry, 3 blind spots that human beings have when they're trying to create transformation. And I broke down those 3 spots, and I'm not going to tell you what they are here, except for I will say, what do I want to say about those here? What I will say is that you have to think about culture transformation and leadership development and innovation differently than you've been thinking about it. And it was very interesting to watch what happened in the conversation as we introduced these 3 new frameworks for thinking about culture and innovation. It's very interesting to see what happened in terms of what opened up for these leaders and what they're now able to take back to their companies. So this is a little bit of a commercial. Hopefully this is helpful to you to start thinking about that in a different way. But this is a commercial for you to reach out to ask for an invitation. I'm going to actually put this here banner. Let's see. This is the link for where you can sign up to request an invitation to our next forum. The one in March is going to be awesome. We're going to be talking about different ways to create sustainable culture change, like really, truly sustainable culture change. In fact, let me see if we have it listed. Oh, we sure do. How to prioritize the future of culture change, how to prioritize a workplace transformation that lasts. So that is what we'll be talking about in March. If you'd like to join us for that or one of the future ones, please do. We're also going to be doing a IEP panel coming up where we're going to be inviting some of our current and past clients who've really done a beautiful job of integrating this work into their companies to talk about how it's affected them personally as leaders and also how it's affected their organizational change. So we'll be doing that in the future this year as well. And lots. So just, keep connected to all of this, pay attention and get in there. And if you want to have a conversation about what's happening for you in your organization, especially if you are a senior executive leader who's responsible for culture transformation, not just culture change, we want transformation. If you're responsible for performance, if you're responsible for innovation and making sure that your innovation teams are really operating at the top of their game, if you want to, if you're responsible for workplace well-being, if you're responsible for talent retention and attraction, And this is interesting to you, and you want to look at it in a different way to see why maybe what you're doing so far is not getting the return on an investment or the results that you want. Happy to have a conversation with you privately. You can go ahead and you can send out a, you can send us a note here and we'll set up a call. The predictions for workplace engagement and culture energy for 2024 are that we're going to continue to drop. We dropped in 2023. We went up a little bit 2021 to 2022, up a little bit there, but we dropped in 2023. The predictions are we're going to be dropping even more in 2024. But that right there is a choice that we can make as organizational leaders and leaders, period, in the company, period, as human beings. We get to make the decision if we are going to let that be true. Are you going to decide to let your culture energy and your engagement levels drop in your organization, or are you going to do something very differently? And I think that, doing something different is pretty interesting. So this is a choice. This is an active choice. Your culture energy and your engagement is an active choice, but you have to be focusing at it from the right direction. And right now we're still focusing at it not in the right direction. So we have a different way for you to look at it. So if you want to learn more about that, just reach out. Happy to talk. All right. Take care. Bye.